is Emily Phillips. I am a songwriter. I've been a professional songwriter for about 15 years.
I need to know now. Worldwide. I mess your life up. I'ma get on with I'm gonna ride this wave. No matter where it breaks up, I burn away like shooting stars.
In my 20s, I was a specialist painter. I was traveling around the world painting murals for the likes of the President of Russia, the King of Jordan. And at that time, I lived with Damon Albarn, who is the frontman of the Gorillaz and Blur, and he was at the height of his career at that point. And he noticed that I was musical, and he put a guitar in my hands and showed me 3 chords, and the rest is history. I put an indie band together. I gradually stopped painting. With my band, we made 3 indie albums, and we had some success with a song that hit Europe-wide as in a car advert, and we toured South America and Italy, and kind of grand finale was playing our hit song to about 40,000 people one beautiful night in Milan. So we had some great times, and I went on from the band to write songs with other artists, and that's pretty much what I've been doing ever since. Another pivotal moment, a primary moment, I think, fast forwarding from when Damon gave me a guitar to having 2 Brit nominations and being at the Brits and sitting between Lana Del Rey and Bruno Mars. That was a really cool night, and I actually bumped into Damon that night, and we had a hug, and I thanked him very much for sending me on this path. When I grew up, I was one of 6 brothers and sisters, and we used to listen to Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, the Velvet Underground, Talking Heads, Carole King, Bill Withers, Aretha Franklin, Simon and Garfunkel. These were the kind of records I grew up on. But now as a writer, depending on the session or what I'm in the mood for, I will listen to anything that feels great. Right now it could be Bon Iver or Black Bear or Anderson .Paak or Lana Del Rey's latest record, Laura Marling. I was checking out Taylor Swift's new album this morning. So it can be any kind of genre. Often I'll tune into what I think's really cool according to the genre of the artist that I have coming in that day. So I do my best to research around what might feel relevant to the session. I think one of my best sessions was with The Machine of Florence and the Machine. She was an amazing co-writer. She was very physical in the session. She was actually bashing the wall with a tambourine, shouting, moving around. She was very sort of dynamic and crazy and unexpected. And on that day, my role was like a fisherman. I was catching the hook. I was harnessing and kind of making grow the best ideas on the day, editing, pushing the song forward so that out of the chaos comes order, because like many of these sessions, the artists are moving through time and space fast, and you have to catch them and nail that song in the given time you have. But she was brilliant, and I loved that. So she was wild and unexpected, and there certainly was no notion of a brief. It was instinct. And on that day, we actually used a dictionary of poetry that my grandmother gave me, 18th century English poetry, and we found some incredible nuggets of inspiration. Some of the oldest ways of talking about love can be rehashed. You just ditch the prepositions and get it up to date, because let's face it, people have been falling in love ever since the dawn of time. Primary experience, what's it like to be a songwriter today? The music world has changed so much ever since kind of digital service platforms. 30,000 songs are released daily, something like that. So songwriters have such fierce competition. So not only are we competing with thousands of songs a day, We also team up. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 of us because we need brain power to get the best hook out of the day. That is one aspect of how competitive this industry can be. I think it's important to try and keep across what the zeitgeist is, because it moves so fast, it also fragments, but at the same time to be true to your own sensibilities and what feels cool rather than second guessing. I think the best sessions are often when all the rules are broken, or if we're given a brief, we don't follow it. So I think it's just a mixture of really following your gut instinct, but being as well informed as possible about what's currently going on. Being signed to Primary Wave, I have one word that sticks in my mind, which is family. And actually Justin Schukat, who signed me in the company, he said, "Welcome to the family." And that was so cool and so sweet. And that's how it feels. I feel like I belong, and these people look after me. They are very responsive on email, attention to detail, which is key in any business when you need to stay on top of your game. So we don't leave any stone unturned, and we swap ideas, and they help open doors to contacts and so on, which I can't kind of get through to from my London studio, perhaps US contacts and so on. So I am thrilled to be signed to Primary Wave, and yeah, thanks to the whole team. I actually had a song out last year which I'm really proud of. The artist is Soak, an Irish girl. We wrote a song called Everybody Loves You. We wrote it at the piano, and it's a kind of romantic song, but it's edgy too. It had a lot of radio play, but amazingly U2 heard it, and they played it out on their arena tour, out on the big speakers before they went on stage. So I'm so proud of that. A future primary goal is to get onto Broadway a musical I'm writing. So that is something that would be just phenomenal to achieve. But also, obviously, to write the best song I possibly can. I think on a typical day it goes something like this. I will empty my mind, maybe a few minutes of meditation. Then I will write down a stream of consciousness. The idea is that there is no judgment on whatever comes out of my head. It could be rubbish, but I do not judge, because sometimes there is gold in the dust, and you can never be sure what will really count as a lyric or an idea that matters. So there's a few minutes of a stream of consciousness. Then, generally speaking, around 11 a.m, the artists will arrive. When the artists arrive, I make them feel as comfortable as I can, and we talk, and I kind of ask many questions and find out about this person, and I type as fast as they're talking. They may not even notice it. I'm trying to get a record of how they express themselves and what seems to matter to them, and we'll talk about their life and all kinds of things. Sometimes when I go into a session, I have poetry books with me, and I might open a page at random. Recently, I found in Rumi's poetry book, he was a shepherd in Afghanistan in the 12th century. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a very suitable kind of flavor for a pop writing session, but you'd be surprised. I opened this book at random, and I saw written down, "I can't decide what I love the most." And then the song is born. I can't decide what I love the most. Your body or your mind, your spirit or your vibe. So it's like, thanks to the Afghan shepherd 1,000 years ago, out of copyright, I'm happy to say. So I take poetry books. You know, I actually saw Roll in the Deep in a Lord Tennyson poem written in 1865. Maybe Adele found it there, who knows. But the point is, inspiration can come from anywhere. It could be something somebody mutters, or the biggest ego in the room might shout it out. John Lennon actually had an idea that ideas don't innately belong to us. They are universally out there, like clothes peg hanging off a line. We as writers or artists are the transistor, we're the means to access these ideas. And actually, if you're ever in a session and somebody gets very kind of like defensive about having their idea on the plate, even if it isn't the best idea, maybe they could be reminded that all ideas are kind of belong to all of us, and it's just kind of who found it first, shall we say. Anyway, that's an idea. I mean, it's just a theory. But generally speaking, yeah, so inspiration can come from anywhere. You have to be very observant. I think one key factor in my primary process is to encourage my co-writers. The creative spirit of a human is incredibly delicate. It's like a flower. If it's encouraged, it opens and blooms. And if it is discouraged, it closes so fast. And I know myself that if somebody puts you down or they're giving you a negative vibe, it doesn't take long before you close off, however experienced or however good you are. So I always aim to really encourage, support and nurture the people that I co-write with, and also to, have a good time. I mean, we've heard it a million times, but resilience is key in this industry. Obviously, there's a lot of failure because many songs come to nothing, and you have to keep getting up when you're knocked down. These are cliches. I actually love the advice of this 80-year-old physicist I once heard saying he had a 15-year theory proved wrong by the Hadron Collider in Switzerland, that proton scientific experimental place. 15 years he had worked on a theory, and he said that success is going from failure to failure with undiminished enthusiasm. So as a songwriter, that kind of makes sense, that really you just keep continuing, and along the way you have stepping stones of success, and those stepping stones propel you on to the next phase. And I mean, again, arguably a cliche, however, I really do believe it's the journey that matters, because when you achieve a successful song, you're immediately on to the next. You look beyond it and can't wait for the next success. So our horizons always move forward. So therefore, I try to give the moment and the day and the session my full attention, absolutely focus, and get the best song out of that day.